Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a Toronto Raptors video. I feel, to be honest, that the Raptors are ready to bounce back and they're going to come back with a vengeance after a disappointing last season. If you guys enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. I post Raptors content, NBA content every single day. I know you guys would appreciate it, so be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's aim for 200 likes on today's video. That would be awesome. The Raptors had a very disappointing season last year, and to be quite honest with you, I think it was pretty intense. It was pretty extravagant. It was pretty intense. It's something personally I've never really seen before. I think a lot of us haven't seen before, and I hate talking about it, but you have Media Day. I believe, I'm not quite sure when Raptors Media Day is. I assume all NBA teams' Media Days is within the next 7 days, 100%. So in at least a week, or in max a week from now, the NBA season's going to be getting going. You got Media Day, you got training camps, you got preseason, and then you have the opener, which is only, honestly, a couple of weeks away. So it's about to start picking up here soon, and I want to get all my predictions out of the way before the season starts because I just feel so confident in this Toronto Raptors team, and it's kind of it's interesting. And I think a large factor to that is just based off of last season. I mean, last season for the Toronto Raptors, it was a complete roller coaster, and it was for a lot of teams. Obviously, you had, COVID. Last year, COVID, I hate talking about it, but it's almost difficult to talk about the Raptors last year without bringing it up because it derailed them completely. I mean, it was just the biggest killer you could possibly think of for the Raptors because obviously Toronto, the only team in the NBA that is in Canada, whatever was going on with the borders and all that, essentially Toronto had to play their whole season in Tampa Bay. And it's so crazy because not only is Toronto and the Scotiabank just one of the most dedicated, loyal, loud fan bases in the entire NBA, but I've just never seen that happen before. I'm sure maybe there's been a sport where something happened where you had to play maybe a game or two or a handful of games, maybe like a hurricane hit, and you had to go play a couple of football games for a month or two, not in your hometown. Like I'm kind of thinking that Packers Saints opener, was that the opening night? Yeah, opening night. They played it. I actually am not quite sure where it was played, but it wasn't in New Orleans. So essentially the point I'm getting at here is I've never in my entire life seen a team be forced to play their home games essentially it's not even across the country, it's across a country in a completely new country and on the just complete opposite side of that country. I have never seen that before, and there is no way, shape, or form you could argue to me. I'm sure you could argue it to other people. But I'm so set in my ways of this thought of it's like, I can't even imagine. It's just such an unfair disadvantage that it's so tough. And I keep getting this because I all my videos right now are either, going through a trade or looking back at something from last season for the Raptors. And a lot of you guys in the comments, you say stuff like, I don't even think we should review the Raptors last year because of all the different things that went into it. And it's honestly a pretty fair and valid point. I believe it was 72 games. I know it wasn't 82 games. It was 70 or 72 games. So you're playing 30 plus games, quote unquote, at home when you're not even freaking home. And like I said earlier in the video, Toronto, the Raptors Stadium, that city, it's one of the hardest arenas to play on the road. So it's just a huge disadvantage. Toronto in the last, 9, 10 years that they've made the playoffs in consecutive years, That's been a huge factor in it. And so you get rid of that, and it's like the season was a wash. And outside of the COVID location issues, you had not only missing key players with COVID, you're missing coaches with COVID. Then you have a whole drama thing with Kyle Lowry. Is Kyle Lowry going to get traded at the deadline? Do the Raptors want to trade him? Does Kyle Lowry want out? People are looking for clicks, and so you have a bunch of just kind of fake media news coming out from both sides, like, oh, Kyle Lowry wants out, or Toronto wants Kyle Lowry out because he's not part of the future, and it just adds unnecessary tension to an already unideal situation. And so what happened is they obviously didn't trade Kyle Lowry at the trade deadline. They decided to go give it one final shot with Kyle, and it ultimately fell a little bit short, and it left kind of a bitter taste in a lot of Toronto Raptors fans' mouths. And I look at a lot of the moves they made this offseason, not only with the draft, not even only Scotty Barnes. I mean, Delano Banton was huge as well. They just had a very solid draft in general. But I look at some of their offseason moves, trading away Kyle Lowry. Goran will get traded eventually. My guess is it's around the trade deadline, and my guess is he builds his value up, being a bench kind of 6th, 7th man on the Raptors bench, second unit, until he gets traded. I'm sure his value will be something where you get a decent return. I actually have a trade hypothetical here. I can't remember it 100%, but it was pretty bad. It was like Goran for... And what was the weirdest part about it, it was a trade for the Mavs. It was like Josh Green, like a second-round pick, and Dwight Powell for Goran, and it just didn't make too much sense. The issue with trading away Goran to the Mavericks specifically is that you got to match that $18 million contract, and I don't know if Dallas is going to be okay with giving up 2 centers, because the Raptors are looking to get a guy like Moses Brown, a 7-footer, in return. There's not really an issue with Dwight Powell. It's just you're most likely not going to be able to get both of them unless you're throwing in more than just Goran, because you got to make the salaries match. And Dwight's really the only one with a sizable salary. So I might just make a full-on video about that situation, because there is like some minor news reports and media stuff coming out from the Dallas Mavericks camp. But you look into it, you look at all the crap last season, and you're going into the season, you got a healthy Fred VanVleet, you have a re-signed Gary Trent Jr., Pascal should be here in a couple of weeks, you've got OG, who just had another offseason of working hard. I can't wait to see what he's ready to do. You just got Scotty Barnes in the draft. It's gonna be an interesting season. If you make the playoffs a success, and you can just kind of continue to build from it. And so I really think that the Toronto Raptors will have a nice bounce back year. You guys know my prediction, 5th seed in the East, advancing to the second round. I want you guys to go ahead and give a prediction on where the Raptors finish next season down below in the comments. Got all my socials in the bio, and once again, hit the like button, hit the sub button if you enjoyed.